Okay. And there's a lag on this, so I don't know if I'm live, but I think I'm up and running. And there's a lag on this. So I gotta mute myself. How do I? I think okay. Hey Gino, what's up? Okay. So basically, I'm just gonna do this part for like the replay crew because you know it's a way to kill time so people can come in, whatnot. But I'm Ganja Girl, aka Gigi. I'm nervous as can be. Not really a streamer. Didn't really want to do this as far as breaking into the streaming part of it. I'm all in on the activism. I'm all in on the protesting, but the streaming just isn't my thing. Um, I went to LA. I didn't even stream when I was out there, which I kind of regret that I didn't take any static video. But I I went to La Poubelle. I protested La Poubelle. I've protested Big Blue. Um, I I went to City Hall, went to the meetings in person. I did a lot of my vacation was activism protesting. So for me, I'm just whatever I can do to help the abuses be shown. Not just the obvious ones, but the ones with the collusion and the corruption with the government, the local government, and the police and all that stuff. So I'm going to fight past this nervousness. This will probably get easier, but I won't be looking like directly at the camera all the time. I just can't. So please don't think I'm like being rude. Um, okay. So with that said, I don't know if this is going to work, but there's a way that I can play music. And I wanted to play a song um, that I wrote about calling into the meetings, just a little bit of it. But let me know in the chat if I don't know, if it echoes or something. Can you hear it?
Open the agenda, find the link to the Zoom. Click on it to connect to the room. We sit and wait for the meeting to begin, and the names TJ starts calling. They ask us what we wanna comment on. We say general or multiple agenda item. Then we continue, wait for them to start up, and finally we are now recording pops up. The president talks and it's blah blah blah, but he mentions public comment. The time is now. They call on us to speak and we all slay. Everyone's so good with what they say. Sometimes it feels never ending, it's been so long, but to this day we're all so strong. We're so strong. We're so strong. We're so strong. We're so freaking strong, y'all.
Okay, so another thing, I am not going to be good at reading the chat. I don't know how streamers do that. Hi, Mona, MD, Amy, Kirby's mom, Sue, Gina, Nancy, T. I had trouble with your name yesterday. Haggis Basher. What up, though? Okay, so as most of you know, we got two special guests. So let me bring them up. They're already here. They're ready. So let's first bring up, let's see. Audit.
Hi guys.
She puts in the hours, she puts in the work.
Whether it's city council or public works, or
And
neighborhood councils, police or fire
we also
commissions.
got Mona here.
Good morning, sunshine, she says each day. Even when things are a little gloomy and gray, she starts.
Okay.
I love the
I'm a
music.
I'm a wrestling fan, so I had to have like the entrance themes for y'all.
I love it.
Hi, chat. Hi, everybody.
Yes, hi everyone. I can't read chat like always because I'm like not good at this, but hello to all.
Okay,
Thank you,
so
Gigi.
the reason that I thought that this stream was important is because I've seen other channels talk about the meetings, and I've seen you guys go and talk to people, but some questions are still left unanswered. Some people are still unsure what topics could be talked about, like what public works deals with, or what's police commission or fire commission. And some people are nervous. Just like I'm nervous to stream right now, some people are nervous to call, and maybe we can give them tips on how to make it easier to call. So I think that's where I want to start off is how do you guys think you can get rid of that stage fright when it comes to calling in?
You want to ask what like
Go ahead, Audit. You first.
jump in? I think a lot of it is just getting mentally prepared. And well, like well now with you, I'll say like right now you're saying you're nervous here, but we have a very supportive community and you're doing great. You're gonna do great. So I think a lot of it is like what you're doing, just saying, you know what, I'm just gonna jump in and do it. And I acknowledge I'm anxious about it, and but I'm gonna face that anxiety. And and does it really matter at the end of the day if if it's not perfect, or if something, so like with the meeting, if you're nervous, one thing I would say is to prepare yourself. And this was what I was trying to tell, talking the other day, is that don't let anyone make you think that any of these people are more important or above you, because they're not. They may have the position of, like public works president, what they do, congratulations to him. But, in the grand scheme of life, he's no more important than you. And actually, if anyone's more important, it's actually you, because I think we, the
Right.
people collectively, are the power. We're the voice, and we're speaking our singular voice and a collective voice. And so just have that confidence, and know who you are, and know that you're important, and don't be intimidated. And and their job is, yeah, like the lawyer, whatever. Oh, you're off topic. Okay, all right, now what? So either get back on topic, or and if you say, you know what, I want to stop right now, and that's fine too, then do it again. I get called off topic. Look how many times I get called off topic.
And that's
But
something we're gonna go into a bit deeper is the staying on topic or arguing with them when they say you're off topic. So we'll go into that a bit
okay,
later.
so that's my
Mona, do you have
advice.
anything?
That practice doesn't make perfect because no matter how many times you practice, you always seem to screw up one thing or the other. And I've been doing this probably for 30 years. And honestly, I still get nervous and have to pee before I talk on every single council and everything else. So it's not abnormal. And I like to write things down so that way I don't get flustered and forget what I'm going to say. But I know others like Amy M. She's off the cuff and she's lickety split, and she can just say it right off her top of her head. So does Audit. I have to write it down or else I get flustered and
Yeah,
I squirrel.
I try to write down what I'm gonna say, and then it doesn't sound like me when I'm saying it. It sounds too scripted, or I sort of get anxiety if I skip a line or miss something, and that throws me off. So I try to freestyle, but then I don't know, I run out of time or I get off on a tangent or whatever. So it's like, I don't know, sometimes there's like a good medium with that.
So it's whatever makes you more comfortable is the best way to get rid of those jittery nerves. And trial by error is you did it this way, it didn't work, you do it the other way by writing it down, maybe you're more comfortable, or maybe you get to where, okay, Amy says she plays it through her head first. That's it. everybody kind of has a different thing.
I do that too. I think preparation is also important. Like knowing if you're going to speak on agenda items, like know what the agenda items are, but also if you're not and you're just going to do public comment, like I'm like Amy too. I know what I want to talk about, and and you kind of put it in your mind and just kind of have it, and so preparation does help.
Yeah, and
Okay,
then of
so
course we always
uh,
have the technical errors, and the technical difficulties, and so knowing, either having somebody mentor you or hold your hand or ask, say, hey, how does this work? Because each of them are different. Especially even the Zooms, all the different Zooms are different. So getting that part out of the way, and then you can focus on what you're saying.
True.
right, and okay, speaking of like the technical, a lot of people don't know how to find the different links and all that stuff to call in. But Mona, you make it really easy when you do a stream. You put the Zoom link right in the chat, right? And
Mhm.
audit. I know I'm not the best with the mods, but or putting links in, but the other mods take care of that. And usually there's an easy Zoom link in one of the chats when the meetings are happening, right?
Yes, and we also post. Like I try to post the agendas. If not, and we need to maybe to have a better where we really post the agendas, because all you have to do is go in the agenda, the top portion. You're just going to look for a blue link, and that's going to hit you to if it's a Zoom, like they don't, the ones that use Zoom, and others you can do call in. If you can't do the Zoom, there's call in, but it's all right there in the top portion of any agenda is how to connect. You'll see under like public comment. So a lot of it might be doing a little bit of digging and research, um, and then, but it will get more, and it's always going to be the same Zoom link, really. So you could really take the Zoom link for that meeting and just put it in your notes and save it, because it's always going to be the same Zoom link.
So for like police commission, it's always the same Zoom link for the police
Correct.
commission. Public works, it's always the same. Okay. Now, when it comes to calling in and using the phone number, people like me don't like doing that because they'll list like the last three numbers of your phone number when they're calling you. And people have said there's a way to get like Google numbers and stuff like that. So I'm just putting it out there for the others. Like, I'm not going to change my mind on that. I just can't do that right now, call in with a number. But there are ways to get Google phone numbers or text
There's
now phone numbers.
text
And
free. There's also text free. I think it's called as an app.
yeah, so you can call in and be anonymous. And I saw you guys called into Salt Lake, and they're really weird about they want you to say your name. They want a first and last name. Now, legally, do you have to give them your first or last name?
No, we have a Fifth Amendment. It's not even incriminating yourself, but no, I don't believe anywhere are you required to give your first and last name. You're not under like testimony, court of law, affidavit, any of those things. You're not swearing that what you're about to say is true or anything. So I challenged them that on that. I don't know if you, I challenged, I said,
You
I don't believe.
did.
Yeah, I said and they didn't challenge me back, but and I did not give my name, and I was able to speak. So sometimes it's just a matter of being able to push back, because like I know fire commission they always want your name too, and I said no, I don't give my name. I'm dealing with Scientology, and I don't want, even though of course they know who we are. So it's my prerogative. I don't even have to give any name. You could just say, you don't have to put anything, and if you put in that card, they have to give you your chance. So that they're wrong, and it's something I want to push a little bit further with that city, and to get that removed, because and don't let them intimidate you saying that you have to. Like, don't let no they can no one can make you give your name. Like, there's no, there's no meeting that's
I
going
don't
to
think
force
in
you to do
30
that.
years doing public comments I've ever put anything other than Mona M. And you don't have to. And God forbid Henry's George Costanza half the time.
Yeah.
He has some very creative names.
Yes, and you can put
And that's the thing,
anonymous.
like you can call in and do any name you want. So if that's what's holding you from calling in, just think of some it doesn't even have to be your screen name. We don't even have to know it's
Mhm.
you. You could be anonymous to us. Just use a different name. Like that's not gonna be an issue. And if they try to make it an issue, you have rights to where you don't have to do that.
Absolutely. It's a lot of it, I think it's intimidation. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in. Don't let them intimidate you. Well, I think a lot of it is that they're just not used to it. They're just this, they want to keep a list. They want everyone's email out. They just want to keep a list because they're not used to maybe protesters calling in. But that's too bad. They're going to learn and expand their horizons. But don't let anyone intimidate you into talking you out of your rights. You have the right to be anonymous.
Do you want to jump into the off topic part now? Because that seems
Sure.
to flow with this, because that's another area where you have to stand your ground. Like, I remember specifically that one meeting, Audit was talking about water reclamation and Hyperion. And the dude comes on to present it after she gave her comment, and they said she was off topic and argued back and forth with her. The first words out of his mouth are, I'm here for the water reclamation plant, Hyperion.
Yeah.
Like, she was totally on topic. So, Audit, you're the queen of arguing or sparring back and forth with them when they say you're off topic. What are some tips that you have when,
Okay. Oh, sorry, plane. I had to go outside. My tip for that is like know who you are. Don't ever let anyone. I don't care who they are, city attorney, whatever. Bah humbug. You're not going to intimidate me out of anything. It's like now there's times that they may be right. There's times that she'll call it, and if she's right, it's. I mean, one time, but I did it intentionally. But other times it may be a gray area because it's okay to go in the gray area. It's okay. And if they call you out and you're like kind of saying, you know what, maybe she's right, then move on. But if there's a time when I'm like, okay, maybe in her mind a gray area, I'm still going to fight for it because I'm going to fight for it's my comment, my free speech, my First Amendment. It's something that people like literally bled and died for us. Like wars are fought for us to have it. So I'm going to fight for it. And so it's just a matter of having that confidence to say, you know what, no, I'm on topic and be prepared to argue it. And I argued it because I'm like, it says water, it says Hyperion. And she may not like what they don't like is that because what they're trying to do is like they don't want me to connect it to Scientology. So sometimes a tip is to say, okay, in comparison, I'm going to make a comparison, and then you can make your comparisons, or I'm going to, or I'm going to make it like in this like a historical context previously. That's when I do a lot with when they're talking about the R permits and stuff for this person. Then I could say, well, previously we see that you aren't enforcing R permits with Scientology. So it's trying to get that language that a lawyer, the city attorney can understand. And then if they still insist, I mean, then you have to pick your battles. It's like, do I want it to stand my ground? And sometimes I do, and I will. And
and you're really
because
good
you
at
kind of
it.
teach people how to treat you. You know what I mean? Like I want, thank you. And I spoke with the city attorney that's always in the city council, and I said, look, I said because about being on topic. I said, look, I'll work harder to try to really connect things on topic. But I said, you need to know I'm here on business. My business is to speak up against, the Scientology. And so I am going to connect a lot of this stuff to Scientology. And I need you to give me some slack. So, you know, them know, if that makes sense. Like you advocate for yourself and for your right to say it. And then if you're really off topic or whatever, and you just don't have anywhere to go, just okay, they win this one. I'll get them next time. Or just
Right.
keep talking through them. Just keep talking anyway. That's what like Shark Guy did the other day. And she kept calling him off topic. And he just kept going and going and going until she flustered herself and just shut up and let him finish. So, and it's fun. Like, don't be intimidated by that. For me, I guess I don't know. I guess everyone else has their own hobbies, but for me, that's like, I find that fun. Like, I enjoy it.
You would.
I
So,
do.
okay, I got a question. My next question is for Mona.
Yes.
So, as someone that doesn't live in California, doesn't live in Los Angeles, do you feel that maybe, because I don't feel this way, but I feel some people feel that it's not their business because they don't live there or they don't have the right to say something. And I was wondering if you could speak a little about how it is for us that are not in Los Angeles calling in. Like, some people say that they're from, wherever they're from, and some people just try not to mention it at all where they're from.
And I think that's usually the best bet because local voices are going to be heard and prioritized above somebody calling from another state or another country. However, that's why I normally say when I talk about I'm in a wheelchair and I couldn't get off the bus if I wanted to, I couldn't egress, I couldn't get back on, they couldn't put the ramp down. And I'm not saying that I'm there doing it. I'm saying I couldn't if I wanted to. And so sometimes just changing the verbiage just a little bit so that way they don't they don't really understand that you ain't there anyways. And then
Right.
second of all, my sister lives there. Audit my sister. She's affected. And so it doesn't I don't have to be there to advocate for my sister. And so that's kind of the way I look at it. But a lot of times I use verbiage that if they were to call me out and say, well, we want a picture of you not being able to get on and off the bus, I'd say, well, I didn't say I'm there to do it. I'm not a victim, but I couldn't if I wanted to. Do you understand
Right.
the difference?
That's why I personally try to bring up, like, when we were speaking to the disability commission, I said I was in that very room talking to Public Works, and that is
Mm-hmm.
totally true. Or I say, I've been to where those planters are. My passenger had trouble getting out with the planters
Mm-hmm.
there. Like, I try to tie it in because I that's my second, like, second home. I love LA. I want to go back there and everything. So I feel like I can say something, and I just wish that wouldn't stop people from calling in. I think a lot of people think that they they can't, or it's not their business, but people Miriam calls in from around the world, like,
Mm-hmm.
you
Can
don't
I
have
chime
to.
in on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
For anyone who thinks it's not your business, I want to say I respectfully disagree. And I hope this helps because, like, say if it's an ADA issue or you're talking child abuse, whatever it is, we're talking about things that have universal dynamics and meaning. So even if you're not here in LA, it doesn't matter. You could come to visit, you could say, but you're still a stakeholder in the sense that you're participating in this protest and you may not be logistically here, but you have an interest, you have wherever you are in the planet, to know that the ADA community is being treated correctly, that children are being, whatever community is being treated correctly. So I don't think that your geographical location really matters. And that's where, because of internet, because of Zoom, all that stuff, it brings it out to the broader world. So I would not let that hold you. I may caution against, just so they don't dismiss, not that they're not going to kick you off, but if you're announcing where you're from, I mean, you can, no one's going to stop you, but it may be best not to, because like maybe they may not take you as seriously. But I feel that everybody has a voice because they were dealing with abuses to
Mm-hmm.
human beings, and that's universal.
And to be real honest, like with Public Works and even LAPD, LAPD probably not so much, but Public Works, I don't think they get public comment except for us. So I think they enjoy it really. I think
They
they're
enjoy
enjoying
some of
this.
it, but not the They don't like the. I
They
mean, they
don't
get
like
some
the
of the
nasty.
backlash. They don't like the
Yeah.
nasty.
Okay, so as far as the meetings that are available to call in, you can't call into the city council right now,
No.
ever since the fires, which kind of weird because people might not be able to get there that are actual, they live there, and that has to be some, in my opinion, some violation of some right, or that's just dirty that they're doing that. But what other meetings are there that we can, call in on Zoom?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I wish it was like considered a violation, but the Brown Act doesn't mandate that they have to. It would have to take a legislative law to say they
Oh,
would have to.
it's a moral
I
violation.
agree. It is absolutely. It's an ethical violation, and it might be something that we could talk to the ethics commission about. To be honest, I mean, I think it's a great idea. And but the other meetings that you can do, okay, now is the police one, but that one there's a lot of is you may be sitting for a while because they seem lately to only be taking maybe 3 to 4 callers. And it's, and it's nothing wrong with like waiting in line. If you don't get picked, you don't get picked. But so far, we do seem to get two. Like if there's 3 or 4, there is like about two of our people are getting called on. But you can always, with any of them, you can do written comment. That's why I've been pushing written comment. But like I
Hmm.
said, just make sure you watch out because when it's written comment, it's still public information. So I wouldn't put anything that you wouldn't want the whole world to see. So that's why I'm pushing that right now because that does get distributed to them. And so with fire, I would say do written. With police, I would say you could try to call in, but do written. City council written. Public works is Zoom call or call in. The disability is definitely Zoom, right? And that's a good one. That's another really good one because they are actually very willing to listen, And then the Ethics Commission, I think that was just call in, right? I don't think it's Zoom, but there's the call in. And and then the neighborhood councils so far right now because we're just going to the central Hollywood and East Hollywood. Those are both Zoom, and those are really good ones to get. I would say get your feet wet with those. They're not as official. Those are just regular people who are helping out their community, much more relaxed. So I would say go in with those first. Now the bid is another one that does Zoom, but they're a little bit more hostile because they have an actual Scientologist on their board, and that's all I could think of right now. But I would say go with the neighborhood councils and
There
try
was
it.
the couple more that was the bar. We all called into
Oh
the bar
yes.
many times. And then also the LA DOT, since we're
Mhm.
talking about the LA area. Um, and that was we could all call in or we could all participate by Zoom, I believe, or it was call in. And
The civilian, right? The
the
sheriffs.
the sheriffs, yes. Yep. So we participated in the sheriff's meetings quite a few times. We've been busy
We have.
girls this year.
Yes,
Yeah, there's
for
so
sure.
many meetings. So, okay, there's so many meetings, but they each have their own purview or topics that you're allowed to talk about. They have certain things where to stay on topic, even in general public comment, you have to somewhat be in their purview. Can
Correct.
either one of you explain like what purview means or staying on topic in regards to like public works and what we can talk about there?
Well, public works. Sorry, they oversee Bureau of Engineering. They oversee Bureau of Street Services, Bureau of Sanitation, street lighting. So anything dealing with the street, sidewalks, easements, engineering, which would be and permits, anything like that. That is um, public works. That is so you can talk about any of that stuff and on general public comment. But if you're going to talk on agenda items, you have to see what agenda items are and then speak, and that's where you're going to get called off more than not for public works.
Okay.
It would it would be like going into the LAPD commission and try and talk about trash pickup. They're going to call you off topic because that's not their purview. They have no control. They have no precedence. They have no jurisdiction um, over trash pickup.
So like if you're going into public works and you just start off just talking about why Scientology is bad and the abuses and everything, like sometimes they let you go with that. But other times they tell you to bring it on topic. So
Correct.
is there any suggestion on how to, if you're not well informed about the situation, what's like something basic that someone could say, to maybe start it off or when they get cut off, interject with like,
Well, with the police one, when you're talking abuses, that's crime. All you had to just say to stay on topic. It's like, well, I'm talking about criminal actions going on at this current time,
But
unbeknownst to
I
you.
was talking about like the other meetings, that
Public
aren't,
Works. Well,
yeah.
Public Works, yeah. I mean, then I would say just know that. Just make sure you like it. Yeah, you can't go in and say, "Oh, it's about the abuses of this of children or whatever," unless you can relate it to. It's going to be your streets, your sidewalks, your easements, your permits, special event permits. Now, if you want to say, okay, well, they keep or it's the street vacation, you could say something like. They're going for the street vacation, so we can't see the abuses that are going on, or allegedly going on, and stuff, so you could, as long as you relate it to something that's within their purview, likely they're not going to knock you off of topic as long as you're tying it to something that they do have control over.
Okay.
Right. And that's perfect. And you um, start off the conversation or start off the comment of they're asking for street vacations. I'm against that. I don't want them to have it. This is why. And I do that frequently because boom, 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 these abuses are happening behind those blue walls. And it gets both topics in.
Yep, you just have to correlate it, connect it.
Okay, so I'm not the best with like interacting with chat because that's hard. I don't know how y'all do it. But Amy's talking about the next police commissioner meeting and how important that is. And I agree that's one of the most important ones is next, or is it Tuesday? Yes. So
This
in
coming
a couple of
Tuesday.
days. And, last time there was a last week it was canceled, but last time there was a meeting was when DOA talked to the inspector general. And then all of a sudden the cops show up for a SWAT call. And my opinion, it was not on the up and up, and there was some shady stuff going on. But there there's a lot to say on the police commission. How many minutes do we get, and how are there any suggestions? A lot of people don't get called. Like, are there ways to make it so that you get called? Mona's always getting called for, but
Well, I
I
think
never
they
get
know
called.
Mona's name by now. No, it's a hit or miss, and there's times Mona doesn't. We used to,
Right?
struggle like you got it this week, I didn't. There's times where both of us never did. That's why I started going in person because you have a better chance going in person. But we know it, most of the people calling in are not locally, so it's impossible. But basically, you're going to get with the police one. It's important to say you want to speak on all topics. And that way you get a full 3 minutes. It's 1 minute for public comment and 2 minutes for agenda items. The thing with the police, though, is that I have rarely do they interrupt people if you're not talking about a specific topic. That's how they sometimes control the gadflies or whatever's going on. But they're mostly going to just let you talk. You'll get your 3 minutes because you're talking about crime. You're talking about stuff like that that's within their purview. But it is really important. But what I am trying to get people to realize is that before, like say tomorrow, by tomorrow 5 p.m., put in your written comment, and it's no, police commission at lapd.online. Put it in, and then if you want, then if you call and you get picked, great. You'll still be able to give your 3 minutes. But if you don't get called, you still got your comment on record for that meeting, and that's why I'm pushing written comment.
Mm-hmm.
Now, okay, you were talking about getting interrupted. Mona, weren't you interrupted and a couple like at the police commission?
I
Like,
was, and I was really shocked that I was called off topic. And to be real honest, I think I hit a nerve. I wasn't off topic. No, everybody knows I wasn't off topic, but I hit a nerve with the president of the LAPD commission, and it was a knee-jerk reaction. And I was so shocked that I was called off topic. I wasn't snappy doodle like Audit gets. She's like boom, and gets those snapbacks. And I thought about what I should have said after the meeting. I'm like, dang it, I should have said that. But yeah, I got called off topic twice. Well, once. The first time was other people were disrupting the meeting, and he called disruption of meeting, so he stopped me. and they weren't disrupting the meeting any more than they normally do for Goat
Yeah,
Puppet and
that's
F-bomb
every
guy.
meeting thing. They
Yeah.
always do.
So I think I've hit a nerve with him talking
Well,
about child abuse.
I'm surprised that at Public Works I was not called off topic. That one day that they didn't let me talk and I decided to just unload on them. But I was reading off, it was for multiple agenda items. So I knew there was like 4 items and they said something about continuing the third. So you could speak on 1, 2, and 4. So I just kept mentioning item 1, tons of F bombs. Item 2, item 3, can't talk about item 3. But I did not say anything about, I didn't know what they were specifically about. Like, I don't get why they did not call me off topic on that. Like, I
Well,
was
it's
off
called the
topic.
topic.
But
I
I
mean,
feel
not
like
really.
they target the two of you, like they know. Like, I don't know. I've seen it where certain people can get away with stuff and other people, like are actually on topic and get called out. So it's sort of hit or miss with that, I guess. Um, yeah, Audit is amazing when it comes to they call her off topic and she just spars back and forth with them. Like
It's
I
fun.
so let's see, what else was there? So we talked about public works and police. What type of stuff could be you said ethics we can call in, but that's the one you need the phone number for, I
Yeah, but
think.
you can get like a dummy one. They put your last 3 digits. It's not four, it's three. So if you're not worried about that, but if you are, I would just say get it. There's different, like text free, I think is one. You could get a Google number. There's a way to get different number. Or again, you could also write in if you're not comfortable with speaking. That's why I'm like, I think a lot of people, if they start writing in event, then they're going to want to speak it. Because look how great, like everyone who started off, I think everyone started off nervous and they're like, hitting it out the ballpark. Because once you do it and you just get over the fear of it, it's like, learning how to swim, you just jump in the water. And then it's okay if if it's not perfect. Even if you're called off topic, who cares? You still got it in there. Like when I'm called off topic, it's because I still got what I wanted to say in there. It's like, okay, I can't continue, but I still made my point,
Right.
so that's a win for me. And yeah, that's all I would say. Just do that.
Well, I wanted to speak about ethics because I want to know specifically, like, what are things for ethics that are important? Like, in my opinion, one of the biggest things would be Susanna four names. Like, if she's on the bid, I don't know if that's their purview, but she's possibly allegedly doing lobbying, and I don't think she's registered to do it. And why is she doing all different names for different things? That sounds sort of like allegedly fraud. Like,
Well,
so would that be a
lobbying
ethics
is,
concern? Like, would she be a topic, or what are some other topics concerning the people that have been in this whole journey? Who can we
Well,
complain?
Ethics Commission is Purview, is elections and the election donations and elections violations. It is also city employees, city councils, city offices, and the ethics of those.
and
So if
lobbying.
in lobbying. So if somebody is working as a city administrative officer and they do something unethical, then that's where you would make the complaint. The mayor, that's where you would make the complaint. A city attorney, even, that's where you would make the complaint. A board or a commission. Now, Susan Furios is on the bid, which is quasi judicial or quasi governmental, and the jurisdiction isn't the city. So the city she wouldn't be under the ethics commission
And
because
the only
she's
way
on the
you can
bid.
connect her is through, and I did bring this up though, is through her the lobbying, because they are Scientology is listed as a lobbyist, and then they have Bill
Right.
Delvac doing a lobbyist. So you may not, and they do get the bid does, and that's what I'm trying to investigate further, because the bid does get funding. The city pays them contracts. So you could probably relate to her to the contracts that the city has with bid, and so you can always make the argument and put it out there, and they seem to be more willing to just listen and not interrupt. Like they're not as from what I can tell. So it's worth to make the argument. It puts it on their radar, and then if they say, "Well, that's not our purview," okay, now we know. It would
Right.
actually be good feedback. Like actually to try to present it. I mean, I can do that. I'll try to present it and see if they push back. But I put out Bill Dell back there, saying that he is their lobbyist, a registered lobbyist, and he's putting out lies. He's demeaning things that are not actual facts, and so that's an issue. Also, a lot of what they do too with ethics is all their forms. There's a lot of forms. There's a lot of ethics is really about the financials. And so if you can catch them on, what if they're not doing their forms, if they're not doing their procedures, it's not so much like, oh, this guy's cheating on this, whatever. It's like, what are they, are they doing what they're supposed to do for their ethical regulations? Like, like there's certain like gifting. If you're gifted a certain amount,
Right.
you have to report it, and there's certain things you're not allowed to do. So that kind of stuff, like when we saw the police officers going to the Christmas thing, that was like, $150 tickets. Did they get that for free? And then did they report? Whatever the limit is, what did they report it? So that's a lot of the ethics. It's the financial ethics within the city, not, they didn't treat me right or anything like that.
Right. So it's not about feelings getting hurt.
No.
It's about like money and lobbying. And from my understanding, and I might be wrong, but Scientology hired Delvac, and he's the one that is registered as lobbying on their behalf. I don't think that that paper, I might have interpreted it wrong, but I don't think it says that Scientology is lobbying. I think that he's lobbying on their behalf. And I think, I don't know,
For that,
but
but if you look up the ethics in their list of lobbyists,
okay.
Scientology is listed as a lobbyist. Whether or not they're actively lobbying for anything is a different story, because I guess in this time they did they paid him a lot of money to advocate for these things. But it doesn't mean that if they're not lobbying, and that's where investigations where we have to maybe look into it and find out if they are lobbying. Because if they're a lobbyist and they're coming before a board, like I even question I wanted to ask, is Janet being on the CPAB and her advocating for Scientology, is that lobbying? Because she is paid to be there. She's not there on her own free will. She's paid $47 a week. Okay, but still, that's her job to be there. Is that a lobbyist? And see, these are questions that even the ethics commission may not even know. They may have to look into it. But that's why we ask these questions and bring it. And if it's not, it's totally legit, that's fine. But if it's not, then the city needs to look into it and do what it needs to do
So,
so their ethics are being honored.
so
So
sometimes it's
another,
good to just
I was going to
ask
say
questions.
another ethics example was the permit office, where they were um, encouraging Scientology to let others get the permits, and they were charging them less. And that was an ethics violation. That's a dereliction of duties. That was a big no-no, and we made a formal complaint against that to ethics for that one.
And
Yeah.
do we know if something happened with that, or do we
I'm not
ever
allowed
get
to tell you.
answers about this stuff?
No.
So,
Well,
so
unless they bring them, unless you see them, like, because like when we were at this other meeting, like if they're having their hearing or they're making a deal as to what they're going to do to settle their ethics issues, then you're going to see it. But they're never going to call and say, "Oh yeah, we investigated. This is what we found." They can't. But
okay, so um, yeah, those planes are really loud. What was I gonna say? So
So
with
sorry.
the
Because it's
yeah.
louder inside. I'll mute myself when they pass.
So I had a question for Mona about it was someone in the chat. Let's go said, can you explain the importance of leaving things on record? Oh, cool. I know how to put them on the screen. What effects do public comments have on the results? So, Mona?
Sometimes not a damn thing. Sometimes when people are there, they're not listening to what you're saying. That's why when you're speaking to their purview, when they're speaking to something that they can make a difference on, they're going to listen. Now, the importance of leaving things on record, like with the minutes and stuff, is because then it shows in the minutes that this has been complained about every week for a year. And that's the importance of something going on record. It actually, YRB has a good point, is that if you put it in writing and email it or fax it or whatever, you facilitate it with, it's probably better that way. So that way it's definitely on record. But they do have gadflies. I do comments with other places also, other states and cities, and sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't. You just never know. But if you're staying on topic and you're within purview and you have a legitimate complaint, they're probably going to do something about it, or at least look into it.
It's also important just for historical context because look at now how we can go back and find out that because I have proof that they're trying to say that they're acting this way with the permits, the special event permits, because of us, of the protesters to protect themselves. But when we go back and look at the historical context of people speaking up at meetings 20 years ago, we find out that that's a huge lie. And,
Right.
so this is setting up. So, like 10 years from now, if all this is still going on, somebody's able to look back and look at all the work we did, especially that's what I'm saying, because yes, they will be able to listen to the YouTube videos and all that stuff, but they'll also be able to read through the comments. It's all really important. Because look at even with the name change, that file is like 350 pages. And it's just a lot of people who wrote in their comments. And today, like how many years later, we're able to see what they were doing back then. So whether they're going to listen now or not, that's we hope so, and they are. People think that they're not listening. They absolutely are. I mean, they have I think it's up to a dozen citations against them, and they're being fined thousands of dollars at this point. And they are trying to get the art permits, and so they're trying to say all these things. So they're in a battle right now with the city. They don't want to remove the planters because they want the city to say, okay, yes, we're going to give you the art permit, and this is how it's going to be, but they're not willing to risk another encampment is basically from what I understand. For what I'm still going through, I need to redact stuff and stuff. So but that's the argument. But the city is doing something about it. So it is making a difference.
Yeah, and that's something I've been thinking about a lot. Like we're calling in and watching and following like day to day. And it's just like when you look in the mirror day to day, you don't notice how much your looks have changed. But you look at a picture in the past and you can see, wow, so much has changed. I've grown so much. Well, I look back at the past and look at the streams and listen to the calls and everything and look at where we are now because of the work that we have done. Like, it might not seem like there's been a lot of victories, but there have been. And things just move slow, especially in a big city like that. Los Angeles is
Mm-hmm.
huge. That's
Hmm.
why there's so many meetings and they have city council all the time because it's so huge. But there's so much going on. And then with the fires and everything with that, there's a lot going on. But in spite of all that's going on, we have done a lot. There's a lot of wins, a lot of victories. And, you don't notice it day to day. But if you go back and look at it, and reminisce, and like see how things felt back then and then see how things have changed now. We've done a lot. You
Oh,
you
yeah.
two have done a lot more than most and like in the whole anti-Scientology community, not just calling in. You two have done a lot, but there's a lot of people that don't get recognized.
I
And,
agree.
like Amy, she's awesome. Miriam, she calls
Gotcha,
in.
girl.
Uh,
Right?
Nisa's been calling in. Um, who else? There's a bunch of people, but as a team, like a group, non-group, as someone would say, like people that have they're individuals, but they have the common desire to get planters moved or something like that. Like there's a lot that's been done. So don't think that it's for nothing.
Absolutely. No, it all matters. I mean, because, well, we're getting certain things changed. Look at it. I mean, before they were able to get endless street closures permits, but now they can only get it from Friday through Monday, or or is it Thursday? Yeah, Friday through Monday. That's it. And now I am pushing, and that's why I'm asking people to join me in this battle to push them to make it where I'm saying once a month is good. 12 a year is more than sufficient, so because there's no loophole, because nobody was dumb enough to ask for so many street closures. So they never thought of making a limit, because nobody but Scientology does this. So there needs to be limits at this point, because they abuse every system that's known. They just abuse it. And that's just, if I had to say allegedly, I'll say allegedly. But um, but so, and then they are also I don't like this, the progression of like the permit situation. Yes, they took it offline where we're not seeing it, but we are seeing that they are also requiring them to post 10 days. And if they're not doing it, then we should be notifying that they're not doing it. They're also saying that they're going to be sending more inspectors, and especially during the events. And look, now we had like how much time now there aren't any events, because I think they're getting sick and tired of maybe having to do it on and off. And so there is some change is happening. It's slow. It's a bureaucracy, and it's a bureaucracy of many moving parts that don't know what the other ones are doing. And President Corson said that, he goes, I'm trying to reach out to these other, areas within the government, and they don't really work together. They don't really know what the other one does. So we're dealing with that just behemoth of a, of LA. And so I think it's pretty amazing that we've made as much progress as we have. Not only that, we've basically pushed Scientology into hiring a lawyer for $40,000 for this. They can't even use their own lawyers, because their lawyers have failed so profusely in courts that they're being forced to fork over this money to high end lawyers. So that's all wins. There's a lot of wins that I can see, and we have to just hold on to those and feel good about it.
Uh, Mona, do you have anything to say on
I
this?
100% agree. And like YRB said, they even cut the last permit for a single day. So we're making progress. We're making changes. It's sad to see that the exact same complaints that we started with at the beginning of the summer was 30 years ago. I mean, they were basically the exact same complaints. And what we've done in 6 months' time, I don't mean we like Audit and I mean like we, like Ganja, like Amy, like Miriam, like Gigi, like Jill, Amy, and everybody, Yvonne. That's the we I'm talking about. Yeah, we have done it. We've done a lot in 6 months.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have about 7 more minutes. Peter has a question, but before that, I wanted to ask one last question about the street, L. Ron Hubbard, and the parking. And has anyone been able to do? Is there any proof that there's no parking there that we know of? Is there
From
anything?
Well, we know there's no red zone, so and it would be the only street in LA that has a no parking street. So,
Mhm.
and the city cannot produce anything that says that it's no parking. They had something like 10 years ago where it's on Friday nights for a year, but that ended. So so that's all coming up too. And Hugo's office said they are looking into it, and so that's what another thing. Getting all this stuff on all the different radars for all the different agencies, and saying you need to prove it, DOT, you need to prove it, and because it's and they, but that's why they want to hurry up and get the street vacation, and that needs to be fought against. It's a major artery to the hospital, whatever. Then they could do whatever they want with the parking or non-parking. But right now, they're acting as if they own that street. They do not, and but the only the problem is, if I can't say everyone go park there because I believe the police do enforce the no parking. They are under the impression that it really is no parking, because there's that weird sign. I don't even know if that sign was ever legit or, who put that there. But so anyone that's ever gotten a ticket there should really challenge it if they have got, and from going way back, challenge that ticket because I think it's illegal.
So that's a great example of one hand not knowing what the other is doing and one department not knowing what the other. So you have a sign that's sitting there that's got a municipal code that says no parking. So parking enforcement just assumes that it's no parking. So they're going to enforce it because of that code. And it really is bogus. Those signs don't mean a thing. And yet the Department of Transportation is who has jurisdiction over that. LA Department of Transportation, which is not LA Public Works or Public Enforcement. So none of them know what the heck the other is doing. And they all just assume, because that's the way it always has been, that that's correct.
And I just saw Peter's, it popped up about DOA getting a ticket there. Then that may be the best way to get this up and running is to challenge it in court and say, hey, I got this ticket, prove to me that, and if they can find, if they can find proof
Because
that
yeah,
it's
they
a
would
valid
they'd have
ticket,
the burden. They'd have to prove it.
right, they would have to prove it. Yeah, you have to prove that that somebody committed a crime. So if you go in there and say, prove that I owe this, prove that I shouldn't have been parking there, they would have to show proof. If they can't show proof, then
Okay, so I want to make sure that Peter gets his question answered. He says, when should we start asking for time and doing presentation at the local community associations? Show the violation and how over decades they've gotten away with it.
anytime. I mean, everyone should be doing whatever they feel that they should do or need to do. There's no like, there's no like, hey, okay, well, you need to do this today. You need to do this today. Everyone, whatever is put in their heart to do, just do it. And like I said, and if they call you off topic, they call you off topic. If they then put it in writing, because really, like the writing thing too, what they're going to do, call you off topic and X out the part of the comment that's off topic. So I would just say do it whenever you feels right.
And there are page limits on stuff you can email in. So you can email 3 pages. I can't speak 3 pages in 3 minutes. You can get a lot of stuff in on your written comments.
Yeah, and that's why I think, I'm pushing for that because also it becomes a permanent record. And then you could do it and you could still call in. Because one time I went to the fire commission in person, but I originally, because I didn't know if I was going to be able to get there, I put in the written comment. And when I went up there, they're like, oh, we got your written comment too. I'm like, great. And it was passed to everybody. They didn't make any fuss and they still let me speak.
Yeah. So we're at about an hour right now. So is there anything that either one of you would like to say in closing?
You want to
Anything
go
we didn't?
first or I'll jump in?
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Go ahead.
Jenna.
I was just
All
going to
right.
say, so to correlate this with other cities and other states, is that you would look at where the purview would be. If you're having a problem with your police department, you would go to the city where that police department is, and you'd look at what meetings are being held. And then almost everything's online to where you can find agendas or times or calendars online. And that's just how you start doing the research. And then you find the meeting or whoever's responsible for the issue, if it's dog poop or parking or whatever. So that's how you start that, and you look for their agendas. And most agendas will tell you what you need to do public comment and whether there's public comment, whether it's a hybrid method where you could call in or if you have to be there in person. And so that's how that translates to other cities.
That's true. And for me, like a lot of people calling in exactly like you might say, "Hey, what can I look at in my own community that's not even Scientology related?" Because you can. People think they always said, "Oh, you can't fight City Hall or everything," and it's not true. I mean, years ago, I was getting things done, like just like the timing to cross the street, or they weren't going to put an elevator here at the Met. It just different things I've stood up against and it worked in my favor. So don't think that you can't be, to deal in your own community. That's not even just your own creature comfort or whatever's best for your community. You can, but when it comes to these meetings, just like I said, it's just having that confidence and don't let anything, don't whether you don't live there or not, it doesn't matter. It's just have that confidence to know, hey, I have something to say. I have my right to say it. It doesn't, the jurisdiction doesn't really matter. I want to speak onto this and just do it. And if you're nervous, it's okay to say it if your voice is shaking, say it with a shaking voice. And if they call you off a topic, just, if you have to say, okay, you know what, thank you for hearing me. I yield back the rest of my time, then that's fine too. There's like no written rules. There's no, this is your comment, it's your voice. And it's, if you want to use it, which I encourage everyone to use their voice, just use it. It's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be, it's just, it has to just be you, right? And an authentic, your authentic self. So, and you add value. Uh,
Well, it was awesome having you guys on my first live stream. Like, really, I don't know how I pulled it off. I got like two really awesome guests like on my first live stream. You guys are awesome.
American
Everyone,
Sign Language, this is
Yeah, it's
yay!
it's because you're ganja, like amazing
but
mod. You do so much, and I'm so happy to see you doing this and using your voice because you do it on the meetings. But I love that you're expanding it to here. And this was a great. I loved it every second. Thank you for having us. Keep
and
it up.
speaking of mods, I gotta shout out Kirby's mom. She's
Oh yeah,
awesome.
she's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Love her. I
Like,
love all my mods. I only have all my mods are awesome.
but yeah, I only have one right now, and Kirby's mom is like she's holding it down. She's awesome.
She's
And
oh yeah, she's tough too. So
yeah, so thank you guys
she's
for
gonna
coming on
yeah.
my streams, and thank you to the chatters and the replay people and everyone. Like, I hope to do more of these live streams. Probably won't be able to get these two every single time, but I'm sure I can get them again, and we can continue this, talk more
Of
current
course.
things, and
Of course.
And
yeah,
to let you know, when you undo the live, we'll all still be on the screen so we can talk.
uh,
So you know that.
so thank you because I'm new to the StreamYards.
It's
But
okay.
oh, and everyone, Laura's doing a stream right now, the
Okay.
sunset. So go ahead and go to her stream, give her some, views. She doesn't need them, but she, go over to Laura's stream. But have a good one.
Bye,
Till the
chat.
next.
Thank you. Bye, chat. Thank you. I couldn't read it, but thank you for all you do. And thank you, Ganja. It was an honor, truly, to be on your first podcast
I
or
agree.
stream.
All right, everyone, have a good one.
You too. Bye, guys.